They have that right. That does not mean that your parents will change where they stand on it by any means, because the cultural practice is too strong. And I have no answer, no way to solve the dilemma except for beg you to not do it to your own children, to remember yourself and not do it to your own children. We live in times of enormous ignorance amongst Muslims. Enormous ignorance. I'm sorry, that's the best I can do for you. Just say don't do it to your own children. You can try to show them Quran and Hadith, but most of the parents I've tried to talk to won't accept it because it's not their cultural practice.
Can you please comment on the dilemma faced by our younger women? In high schools, they are bombarded by messages to be worldly, physically perfect, etc. As well, they are forced to interact with male students in group work. How should they feel strong at a time they are most vulnerable?
Actually, you know, the guys are going through a lot too. They're not as apparent to the other people because they don't dress properly. I mean, some of them wear bathing suits and tight jeans, you know. I know, I've seen them do it. But, you know, they go through a lot. They have to make choices all the time. They have to make choices if they're going out for athletic events, for any kind of sport. Are they going to wear the clothing that is required by the school, or are they going to fight the school? So they have to fight too. The girls have the additional burden because they're picked on a great deal. Okay? I mean, we have our scarves tugged on and pulled. We're called ragheads. I mean, all kinds of different things. And I think a lot of parents really are not aware of the pressures that their junior high and high school girls are facing. Teachers do not trust children who will not look them in the eye. And yet, in the Islamic culture, it's not acceptable to look someone of the opposite sex in the eye. As a Native American, it's not acceptable in my culture either. Only as a Native American, it goes even deeper that a child is not allowed to look an adult in the eye. It's forbidden. And sometimes you have to be there to go and talk to the teachers. You may need to conduct seminars and training programs for teachers in your area to acquaint them with the special needs of your children. But you must be involved in a positive way with the school and in support of your child. You must be your child's advocate. You must know your child's right. And there are legal rights that your child has, and you have to be there to support them. If you don't think you can do it, you find someone who can, but don't leave your child without support. The kids need to learn to cling together, to come together as much as they can, and to find also ways of finding other people to stand up for them if your parents won't do it. I admire so much our Muslim youth, because they not only suffer the persecution in the school from the people who do not understand Islam and Muslims, they suffer the persecution in their homes and in their families by the families who do not and will not accept the pressures and tragedies of their lives in the real world that they live in here.
So a couple of questions on the same.
Forget it, it's all right.
There's a couple of questions on the same theme. According to Islam, can women work outside the home if they have young children and even if their husband's working? So they leave the work and so they leave the children with a babysitter. Is that all right?
Okay. A woman is allowed to own a business, to conduct her business affairs, and cannot be prevented from whatever is necessary for her to own, operate, conduct her own business affairs in any way. all right? Now, in Islam, we're supposed to have extended families, all right? We have special problems here because we don't have the extended families, and people are afraid of polygamy, and so they have no choice but to leave their children with strangers in daycare centers and other things like this. I don't know that it is forbidden, but I do know that on the day of judgment, you will answer to Allah for all of the negative things your child will learn while in the care of another person. You will answer on the day of judgment for the insecurity that your child develops because the parent was not there to love them and hold them and comfort them and encourage them and help them to develop as full human beings. You will answer to Allah for all of the deficiencies that will develop in your child because your child has to depend on himself or herself more than on the parent who wasn't there. And brothers, you will answer to Allah if you are not there for your children in the same way. Now, I do know parents where both are going to school and studying, and they take different shifts. So when he's in class, she's at home. When she's in class, he's at home, so the children are never left with a babysitter. And it works well. They're doing all right. They're getting their degrees, which is important to them both. But the child can never be neglected. And the child needs two parents involved in their upbringing. It is not solely the responsibility of the mother. The father is supposed to be there hugging, loving, kissing, changing, washing, putting to bed, reading stories, teaching, whatever. It's a father's responsibility to be a parent as much as the mother's.
There's a hadith which says on the day of judgment more women will be in the hellfire. Can you explain this? That hadith is there. You know, I'm not going to deny it because that hadith is there. And there are more women in the world than there are men. You know, I mean, there are a lot more women than there are men on the earth. There will probably be that ratio in hell as well. You know, Allah gives us a lot of breaks. You know, heaven's put at the feet of the mother, but if the mother wants to, you know, not do what's supposed to be done, she doesn't get to heaven just by virtue of having children. And women, too often, thank you very much, sweethearts. Women too often, I'm going to make some enemies here, but I would have a reputation for not pulling punches, so sorry ladies if I offend you right now. I'm not sorry, I'm going to do it. Women seem to love to spend time complaining about how bad their lives